First and foremost, I would like to welcome you all back, or welcome you in for the very first time. It is Rage in a Cage. Without further ado, let's jump right into this pay-per-view. Guys, I'm excited. It's a new concept. It's not too deeply thematic, but nonetheless, it's themed somewhat. So, I hope you enjoy. If you do, be sure to like and subscribe, and leave a comment. There's gonna be something that I want to ask you guys at the end of the video, and so definitely be sure to subscribe your thoughts, feelings, and concerns. And let's jump right into it, ladies and gents, as we have a women's title bout on the pre-show. This is kind of, this is a showcase for AJ. She's been the top dog for quite some time now. Omari, someone we brought in. Not sure exactly what our long-term plans are with her yet. She definitely has a spot because she is definitely talented. But for now, AJ is getting that push. She is at the forefront of the women's division. Moving forward, we have the Bulldog and Adonis going 1v1, and Adonis gets injured. Hate to see that, but this is a big win for Davey Boy, and they both compete very well. Great wrestling, good heat, about as much as you can ask for in a 14-minute match, let alone a pre-show bout. This one did not have much build to it. That's why it was on the pre-show. One, to give it time, and one to kind of give and Adonis a stage to kind of showcase their skills while they're not in a hot feud for now. Yep, Adonis, damaged shoulder. Then we are on to the main card. Here we got Brett, Sting, and Misawa cutting promos because they have a triple threat United States Championship bout. Brett's the champ. Sting and Misawa have had pretty bad luck as of late, and it boiled down to the fact they didn't take kindly to Brett's taunts after having lost months in a row on pay-per-view, and they said, well, we would both like to take that title. It led to a 1v1 bout between Sting and Misawa that would end in a draw, and thus the triple threat was finalized. But before we get to that, we got Taker and Steiner. Steiner, kind of the shining star, one of the really hot young talents on the WWF roster. Taker did not take kindly to that. Paulie dangerously kind of called him out, and then Taker would blindside him, and then it looks like Taker finished the job here in the opening bout. 82, again, a great way to start off any match. If you've followed this series, you've heard me talk about opening matches, and I've seen some strategies with other people who post their gameplay and stuff like that to lead with a very strong bout. I like to kind of treat it like an opening bout in like older WWF. Currently, their opening bouts are, they're fast-paced, high energy, try to get the show started off to a real hot start. Whereas I go timing-wise, where it's like, well, this bout's going to get the least amount of time, but generally has the young stars or, the burgeoning stars for lack of a better term. So that's why the women's division often gets set there. Not that that's a criticism of them, but they are, trying to get to a level to where they can, main event eventually. But Steiner and Taker definitely both on the come up. As you can see, 76 by Steiner, 75 by Taker. So this was a good spot for them, and also a big win for Taker. And also the feud coming into this, I think, was beneficial for both. Steiner got a lot of promo time, and Taker got a lot of face time on TV too. So that's always something that, I find interesting. And then let's go into that triple threat match, which, damn, 74 after how great every competitor did. That kind of stinks, but it is what it is. Not exactly what I was expecting, but again, exceptional match. Bret Hart defeats Misawa and Sting in 14 minutes 23 seconds when he wins by submission over Sting. This is a tremendous bout. All three competitors did great. Bret did phenomenal. Bret did good, but Sting did phenomenal, and Misawa did great as well. So that is a huge win for Bret. And unfortunately, it's not going to happen on this bout. But, essentially we wanted to kind of raise the prestige of the U.S. title here by having Bret win a big bout. I half expected this to do good, not great. Maybe mid-80s, maybe like 82, 84. But sometimes this happens. No big deal. It was only 14 minutes, so it's not going to affect the card too much. Plus, they had a great promo, so kind of evens out. Then we got Flair and Windham cutting a promo themselves. They are going I'm losing it. They are going 2-on-2 with the Mega Dudes, the MegaPowers, that is. Not Austin Powers. We got Hogan, we got Savage, and they want payback on one Barry Windham because he was part of that three-man attack on Savage and Hogan during the White Wedding segment on the appropriately named pay-per-view White Wedding. So they want revenge on Windham, and they were trying to get to the bottom of why the Horsemen were set up to it. And Flair, he basically said, look, I'm not the trigger man. If I really wanted, I could have your wife, Savage, just like I took your belt. But if I was going to do it, I wouldn't do it like that. He said, my guys, they were put up to it. It wasn't by me. Obviously, I don't need help from the Horsemen to take your most prized possession. However, I have Windham's back, and I won't back down. That's what Brotherhood's about. That's what the Four Horsemen are about. Regardless of whether I agree with it, I'm willing to fight and fall with Barry Windham. So a tremendous tag bout is set. Flair and Windham versus Savage and Hogan. But before we get to that, we got an exceptional match. Another one that underperforms. But again, I will reserve judgment till the end. We got Jake, we got Harley. Both were in the IC title bout on the last pay-per-view at SummerSlam. Dusty would end up taking that belt. Jake and Harley got into a huge argument coming out of that, essentially saying Jake was mad at the fact that Harley's kind of chicken crap ways put him in a situation to where Dusty could kind of go over his head and get the belt. So Jake is going after Harley first. He wants that title ultimately, but he's going after Harley first. This bout was actually a coal miner's glove bout. So in my mind, if I was, given any notes, I would want Harley to get that coal miner's glove, to turn, try to use it on Jake, and boom, DDT, and it's over. It says by submission. Again, something I have to change. And look, they're both killing it in ring. Jake 91, Harley 93. Let's look at the dirt sheet. Let's see if there could have been. Okay, capped. I get that. And then inconsistency by Jake Roberts. I don't like when they do that, where it says inconsistency, yet his in-ring performance was a 91, so it was good. The capped thing, okay, makes sense. However, it is what it is. 18 minutes is a decent amount of time to give any match, really. So, but that's honestly why matches are very. I mean, this is the third shortest match on the card, so it's about the midpoint. 19 minutes, I would say, is about the average time for any match, which, geez, I don't know. Maybe some WWE pay-per-views have matches average that much, like Royal Rumble maybe. That's fresh in my mind because it just happened, but I don't know if their matches are that long, So in reality, I feel like well, we'll deal with it. Hopefully we can rebound with this tag bout, and we're back into the 90s. Slow but steady, another exceptional match. We got the MegaPowers going over one half of the Four Horsemen. Hogan defeats Windham, and everyone performs really well, including Windham, who kind of went from, fading into obscurity to really becoming a name on the roster, thanks in due part to Flair's influence. So he has a 90 rating, Flair a 96, Savage a 92, Hogan a 96. So Hogan and Flair are our top performers through the midpoint. Not much I can add to this besides MegaPowers are staying strong, kind of rebounding after losing a tag bout last pay-per-view at SummerSlam. So probably not the last we see of the MegaPowers. Obviously, they still want retribution on Tully and Arn, but they got the kind of the ace. They got the leader. They chopped the head off, sort of, and definitely took. They took out half of the Four Horsemen. So we'll see. Also, part of the story where Flair is essentially denying accountability. Who knows with Flair? He seems like the type of guy who would gloat about doing it if he did. He never did gloat about it and then denied it after the fact. So whether it's all an elaborate ruse, who knows? Needless to say, well, we got an interesting story that likely is not the end of the story, merely just a critical point in the story. So the MegaPowers still going to be looking for revenge, but those Brainbusters, they were in a title bout, and we'll get kind of into their story right here. Obviously, the Cowboys from Hell, Bruiser Brody and Stan Hansen, became the tag team champions at SummerSlam. A tremendous pay-per-view, which if you haven't seen, go ahead and check it out. A lot of shaking up on that pay-per-view, and great lead-in to this pay-per-view. They won those belts in a triple threat tag match against the MegaPowers and the Brainbusters. It was one of the best tag team matches we have had ever, and Bruiser and Stan Hansen definitely helped elevate that match. But the crux going in, there was a lot of moving parts. The number one contenders were the Cowboys from Hell, but the MegaPowers had won the Crockett Cup over the Cowboys from Hell earlier, and they wanted revenge on the Brainbusters, and the Brainbusters were the champ. So we had different motivations for nearly every team in it, and the main story was kind of MegaPowers getting revenge on the Brainbusters, who, like I said earlier, ruined the White Wedding. Well, this team, which should never be overlooked, was probably overlooked going into that, and they came out the champs. Now the Brainbusters get a title rematch, and also the Road Warriors, after earning their spot through TV matches, are in this tag title bout. It's another triple threat, and the Brainbusters are going to be looking to win back their titles, and the Road Warriors, who have perpetually been in the tag title scene, look to finally reclaim their spot at the top. However, it was not the day for the Road Warriors. However, it was for the Cowboys from Hell, who are absolutely on a different level right now. Road Warrior Animal struggled to keep up with everyone. Well, that's a tough proposition considering the fact that everyone was in the 90s. Animal was at the low with an 82, but Hawk a 91, Tully 97, R93, Bruiser 100, Stan Hansen 99. Officially, folks, we have found the best tag team that we have had yet. Certainly making their case for Hall of Fame candidates in short time. Superb bout. Cowboys from Hell defeated the Road Warriors and the Brainbusters. And I just noticed it. Just regular triple threats become elimination triple threats because they did it again. I thought I had made the mistake last time, but now I've finally figured it out because I booked this today and I'm recording today, that just the regular 2v2v2 becomes an elimination triple threat for tag bouts. So, I guess something I'm going to have to look into moving forward regardless. I feel like it puts us in another spot where it's like it's a weird angle to where obviously the top tag is on top. But now we got teams that are just kind of in weird positions where they have different motivations, different feuds, different angles. And we're going to kind of see how we can fit all these pieces together. So definitely something to, the tag division is definitely becoming one of the must-see aspects of these WWF pay-per-views through this series. So it's becoming interesting. And, man, Bruiser Brody's run has been quite good. His first pay-per-view win was the Crockett Cup and nearly won the Crockett Cup on his first night. Well, now he is really making his splash by winning the tag belts and defending them successfully here. And let's move into our next angle and match, which is a number one contenders bout between Dusty and DiBiase. Dusty, as I had stated prior, won the IC title in a triple threat bout over Harley Race, the champion, and Jake Roberts, another contender. And rather than put the belts on the line, which he went into great detail as to why DiBiase did not deserve a title shot, DiBiase and Rhodes somehow worked themselves into a number one contenders bout. It came down from the authority figures in the WWF after Dusty basically put DiBiase on blast and said, look, you've lost the majority of these number one contenders bouts. You are a former WWF heavyweight champion, but you have no juice. You haven't won anything to face me for my title Why would I put my title on the line? And management said, look, Dusty, you made a good point. You're coming off this hot streak. You just won this title. And yeah, DiBiase, he doesn't have the momentum. So rather than have him face you for the title, we're going to have you two face off for a shot at the World Heavyweight title. So DiBiase is going to be trying to beat Dusty to get that title that he lost a while ago that he so badly wants to reclaim. And Dusty is fighting DiBiase not only to shut him up, but to try and become the first dual IC and WWF Heavyweight Champion, and would actually be holding 3 titles if he were to win this bout and the next title bout against either Vader or Steamboat, because of the NWA title as well. So definitely a lot of motivation going into this, and a exceptional match. We have DiBiase defeat Dusty by submission with the $1 Million Dream. He blatantly cheated. Also, we had Road Warrior Animal distract Dusty. 93 by DiBiase, 91 by Dusty Rhodes, and you have to wonder whether the distraction was intentional against Dusty or not. Road Warrior Animal has had no gumption or no real reason to go after Dusty, so it's definitely kind of strange, but nonetheless, the fact still remains Ted DiBiase is the #1 contender. He's been chasing it for a long time, and now he might finally be in good position to take that title back. But before we get to that, no. Oh, well, didn't want to do that, but if you saw it, you saw it. If you didn't, you didn't. We're getting into the segment. Steamboat and Vader video with Steamboat. Obviously, he won the title in the main event of SummerSlam against Ric Flair. It was their second bout. It was a 2 out of 3 falls match. There was some referee kind of questioning after the bout because it was determined to be a fast count upon further review. Steamboat agreed with it, and he was willing to put the title on the line against Flair and Vader, or just Flair, or just Vader. Flair obviously got sucked into having Windham's back. Kind of a face characteristic, you know, even though he plays the heel, he does have loyalty, to say the least. So at least he's got that. But in the meantime, Steamboat still had his bout with Vader, who became the #1 contender at SummerSlam as well. Now, Vader got beat up after his victory at SummerSlam by the hands of The Undertaker and IRS. Didn't know what was going on pay-per-view, but at TV, Bobby Heenan and Ted DiBiase basically spelled it out, and they said, Vader, you're too focused on yourself. You were useful when you were doing things for the corporation, but currently you're kind of only trying to win these titles for yourself. You've let it be known that you weren't going to give the title to DiBiase if you won it, so we have no further use for you. And they basically were trying to attack him, try to incapacitate him, so that perhaps DiBiase could slip into his spot. So we saw Vader get kicked out of the $1 Million Ring, and the reasoning was that he wasn't so much a henchman anymore as he was a singular force. He was Vader fighting under the banner of Vader Incorporated. He was no longer a cog in the wheel, so much as a vehicle. So they kicked him out. DiBiase took issue with this, and Vader is on his own. But due to the fact that Flair was also trying to call out Steamboat prior to kind of getting sucked into his feud, and $1 Million Corporation, trying to interfere with Vader, the stipulation had been set that this would have to take place in a cage to avoid interference in the bout. So Steamboat and Vader are raging in a cage. It's going down. That's why it's named Rage in a Cage. That is the theme of tonight. The main event will be a cage bout between Steamboat and Vader. And without further ado, we got magic, baby. That's what it's about. An exceptional match. Steamboat defeats Vader in 24 minutes 44 seconds by pinfall after a flying karate chop. It's judo, baby. Steamboat makes it defense number 1 of the NWA title and the WWF title. Vader in-ring performance 93, Steamboat 96. Steamboat has solidly established himself as a real champion. One of the fastest starts I've perhaps seen. Vader is, man, he is a great foil for any champion, and for Steamboat to perform like this in a cage bout, which isn't his strong suit, man, that's money right there. Already praising Steamboat's title run, and I think so long as he has a good dance partner, man, this title run is going to be immaculate, I think. And as far as where I want to take this, definitely have some pinpoints for sure. And man, great start, great bout. I think this does great business for Vader and Steamboat as far as solidifying Vader's credibility at the top. He's certainly going to have the WWF title or the NWA title while he's on this roster. That, no doubt about that. And he is showing, I think his title run when his time comes is going to be phenomenal. But while we are in Steamboat's run, I think we are setting the bar higher and higher. Every champion. Flair kind of stumbled out of the gate but recovered, and Steamboat took that baton and flew like Usain Bolt with it. I mean, he's a madman, no doubt about it, and I can't wait to see the next beats happen. DiBiase, obviously the number 1 contender. Yep, and Steamboat's telling me I can perform better if it's not brawl-based. Brother, you did 5 stars, all things considered. Well, in the final segment, the post-bout segment, DiBiase got a live mic, and he didn't crush it. He did okay. Definitely not the way that we want to end these things, but we had DiBiase, Taker, IRS, and the Road Warriors both all beating down Vader and Steamboat in the ring, and that is how we are going to end Rage in a Cage. Certainly that's what I should have hit originally, and that's unfortunate that I didn't. But man, if that post-match segment didn't happen, perhaps this one ends better. Maybe not. Maybe just 97 better. But thank you all for joining me. I always appreciate the views. I appreciate the subscribes, and I definitely appreciate the likes. This video, it was something on my mind, and I'm not sure what date exactly. I think I will iron this out later on, but I just want to gauge interest in a Cyber Tuesday or Cyber Sunday. I think it's Cyber Tuesday. No, it's Cyber Sunday. Yeah. Would you guys be interested in, either commenting on who you would like to main event, match types, that sort? I'm not sure how involved. I know from what WWF did, or WWE rather, it was fairly involved where they had polls for every bout. Let me know if you would be interested in the idea and how involved you would like to be in that, like what polls. As of right now, I just want to see whether there would be a good enough back and forth on the comments to justify doing it. And if not, that's cool. If you guys don't want to have to comment and come up with certain things, that is fine. I can make up other pay-per-views to do, but I just thought this would be neat for you guys and myself, all to try to come up with interesting ways to work in your suggestions. So two things that I think that we could vote on easily would be match type of the main event, and I'll try to come up with choices, but just suggestions right now would be awesome in the comments. So if you would be interested in that, and already what type of main event you would like to see, and then we'll probably leave the number one contender up to a vote. So suggestions for whether what type of bout it could be, and who the number one contender is. Let me know those suggestions, and obviously as we get closer, because it won't be for a couple months, full disclosure, it will not be for a couple months. I'm gonna look right now. It could be it could be next pay-per-view, but I want to give it ample time. So I think it will likely be in January of in-game month. Okay, so it's September. We got pay-per-views in November. We got ample time. So as we get, we'll start it off with correspondence here. So comment who you want to see in a title bout in the main event, and let me know what type of bout you would like to see in the main event. We'll leave it at that. If there's a good amount of people commenting on it, we'll run with it. Otherwise, maybe not. I just thought it would be something exciting that we could all do. So let me know if you would like to see that. If not, totally fine. Also, again, thank you for the likes and subscribes, and I will catch y'all on the flippity floop.